Greetings and welcome to today's session of the Live Painting channel. Glad to have you with us again. My name is Warren Stokes, the host of the Live Painting channel. I feel very inspired today, not the least of which it's one of the first beautiful sunny days in March that we've had. Thought what we'd do today, a little combo action. We're going to finish a painting that we started last week, actually the week before last. So this is actually going on the 2.5 sessions now. And then we'll start a new painting. I've been inspired by one of my viewers to do a topic, and I'll share that topic here in a little bit. Let me get you a little bit oriented here. We're looking at a painting that was inspired by our trip to Palm Springs, one of several that I'm doing. Pretty simple painting, but I did struggle with it a little bit more than some. I'll tell you why. First of all, it was easy enough. I wanted a real nice little, just kind of robin's egg blue sky and some white clouds, and I was inspired by a little image that I saw online, some photos and such. And there's the San Jacinto Mountains in the background. Now let me tell you what the challenges that I've had with it is getting the right light and dark combination and the progression as the painting goes from the back to the front. And with mountains, they start in the back with a lighter tint, and then they get a little lighter and a little lighter. And in this case, I wanted to capture the light hitting near sunset on the more foreground mountains. So I am pretty happy with that. This is a scene of basically looking out at a golf course. I'm a golfer. I'm going to do quite a few golf course paintings. I like it because golfing is fun. I enjoy it. It's peaceful. And also the scenery is just fantastic. Now, a couple of things about this composition. It morphed, actually, from the beginning to where I'm at now quite a bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of the progression. Don't usually spend a lot of time on still images, but I think you'll find this interesting. I've created kind of a progression view of this, and I'll just share that with the viewers today. Yeah, we got some people logging in and chatting. Thanks for the comment there, Bullet Bros Dev. Let's go and take a look, though, at the progression of this painting. And I'm going to start with the first sketch. So give me one moment, and we'll put that online here. So as usual, I started with a sketch of the painting that I wanted to do. Pretty loose sketch, just kind of capturing the composition. But one interesting thing is I elected to go with a canvas size that I don't usually do. This is a stock canvas size, and I just went with it because there's a lot of frames available for stock canvas sizes. So I proceeded with that, got my basic idea of the composition, started working the lights and darks. Getting some of the basic elements in, the mountains in the background, the middle ground, the foreground, a couple of the three of the palm trees, and there was a lot of stuff up in the front foreground, which you'll see why I particularly mentioned that. So then I started working that a little bit more, getting some of the light and color on the mountains and filling in the palm trees. And then I started working on the middle and foreground here, and at some point I made a command decision in the ER to do some surgery on the painting. I basically decided to actually, after I'd already started and gotten 3/4 of the way through the painting, I decided to change the size. What? Who does that? Well, I did it. I actually don't think I've ever done that before, so I peeled the canvas back, undid the staples, sawed the frame to a different size, and I started with that size. And as you'll see, it's got about 4 inches cut off the bottom of it. Well, I actually kind of like the way it turned out here, and this is where we're at today. Back to my more dynamically symmetrical composition. So that's where we are now, and we're going to go ahead and work on finishing this painting. Won't spend a whole lot more time, but there's some detail that I want to go ahead and capture. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of go with the palette, of course, that I had started here, and I'm going to explain the palette a little bit because palette is a real key thing. These aren't just random colors. I've learned that each painting has a certain palette and not to get too many pigments and colors mixed up in it. So I'll explain the palette of this one. I went with In the sky, I went with phthalo blue and white and a little touch of gray. Pretty much titanium white with a little bit of that Payne's gray added in it. The mountains, though, I went with an ultramarine blue mixed with gray and white to give it kind of almost a violet, light violet kind of lavender tinge, which I'm very happy with that. Put a little snow in the mountains because there was still snow in the mountains when we were down there at the San Jacinto Range, just right outside of Palm Springs, Palm Desert. And I went to the middle ground, and there's some mountains that I really love the way the shadows turned out to kind of reflected the purple, actually similar to the violet or lavender that I have in the background with a few more darker shades. Went with some burnt umber and a yellow ochre and Naples yellow, a little bit of white to create the highlights. And then the golf course itself, I just wanted to have a big swath of green because I really love the look of that, and I think it kind of gives an interesting contrast to the purples and siennas back there. But so I just created a nice big swath of green using mostly a hooker's green. I add cad yellow to it, some white and gray, and then there are some really beautiful little trees that I wanted to capture, and that's almost all cad yellow, cadmium yellow. Cad yellow is actually a really bright, heavy-duty yellow, but I natured it down or neutralized it down a little bit, created some trees there. And one of the things about this painting, I was fortunate to have a scene in my mind where certain images that would be roughly the same size in nature kind of allowed me to recede them into the distance, and that gives us a feeling of depth. I hope you see that. A lot of times if there's no relative sizes of things, it's hard for the eye to see the depth. So I wanted the eye to be drawn in from the foreground down through the painting, and I'm going to start working right in here on one of the key elements of the painting, which is going to be, anyone want to guess? If you're in the audience today, what am I going to paint in that little area? What am I going to paint? Well, first of all, I better get my colors in mind. I'm just going back to that little bit of hooker's green, but I'm going to lighten it up. Show you what I'm doing in a second here. Some Naples yellow, a little bit of white. Put a dab of cad yellow because you'll see what I'm going to do with that. It's going to be fun. Cadmium yellow. I've been going with some pretty large tubes of paint here lately. You know, this size here and even larger. And get a little better economy when you get them in those bigger sizes. And plus, I've been painting every week, so I've been going through some paint. So what I'm going to do is just going to put my white in there, and we'll show you what I'm doing, mixing it up here. All right. For mixing the paint, I'm not going to mix it with the same brush that I'm going to paint with because it's a bigger brush, but I can load a little bit more water on it. And I'm going to just create a little area here for my new light green. Zoom in a little bit on that. There's that hooker's green, Naples yellow, a little bit of cad yellow, and a fair amount of white. Kind of liking it, yeah. That's exactly what I wanted right about there. Maybe smooth out a little bit more of that. So one of the things with the palette is it's good to kind of keep your different shades and little mixes kind of, you know, distinctly separate. So I have that dark, medium, and light green there. You can always dab a little bit more of any of the pigments on it, but it just helps you go back and use the same basic scheme, if you will. So there we go. I mixed it up. Now I'm going to put that onto the painting with a pretty small brush, smaller than I have used in a long time. Nice little brush. I don't know if you can see that, pretty small. This little round brush. And I'm going to create the image here of that, let's call that green engulfing. First little color test. Yep, that's about what I wanted. And now this green kind of goes across from here behind that little tree. Kind of up like this. Ends right about over in here. Nice. Okay. Notice it's actually almost more yellow than green. Kind of helps it stand out. Hey, that's pretty cool. I'm liking it. What matters is if you like it, not anyone else really. You're the artist. Alright. Hey, I did a quick search on Twitch today just to find my own channel. I just searched for live painting channel. Mine came up first, Bob Ross second. That was pretty cool. Anyway, if you don't know who Bob Ross is, check him out. Famous old painter. Did more paintings, I think, live than anyone else in the whole wide world. Well, there's that little golfing green. Yeah, not a whole lot more to it, huh? Back there in the distance. Make it a little more depth right in here. Maybe that green just sort of bends back a little bit. I think it goes over there just a little bit more. Okay, don't get too carried away. Just make the image of it. All right. Nice. Okay. Now for you golfers, anyone out there want to guess what I'm going to do next? What I'm going to put on the green? I'm going to let people guess through the chat thing. Thanks for the comment, Iris Roses. That warning, huh? Yeah, you gotta read my warning. If you haven't ever read it, it'll be on this recording of this video, which I post right now on YouTube until I can get enough followers on Twitch. Need some more to get those recorded and posted on Twitch. Anyway, okay, no guesses on that. I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and have to just do it. I'm gonna take the smallest brush ever, and I'm going to make the flagstick. And it's going to be right here. Little flagstick. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's the flagstick on the green. In case you're not a golfer, that's where you're trying to get to. Sweet. Loving that. Simple as that is. Okay. You know what? I'm going to use my high-tech analog man zoom here to show people where I'm at here. Little sound effects. Working on the green right there. I just put it in. You can see the white little pole. There's the flagstick. Here we go. Let me get my analog zoom back into business here. Okay. How about just a little bit more? Okay. I call myself, I have a new moniker, Analog Man in a Digital World. Why? Because most of my stuff is analog, but here we are broadcasting it digitally. But check it out, figure that out, huh? Okay. So now what we're going to do, I have to make a decision what color to make the flagstick. Let me think about that for a second. Got it, made my decision, and guess what? It's not going to be any of the colors on this palette yet. It's going to be cadmium red. It's going to be the only little drop of red on this whole canvas. Perhaps it'll help the eye find that little object. And we now are going to put that tiny little flag on there. It's going to be fun because if I slip, I'll have to do a bunch of repainting, even as small as it is. So I'm going to get a little bit more water on that brush. Tiny little brush. Look how tiny little brush. I hardly ever use brushes that small. Not sure why. Probably take forever to paint a painting with them. But this time, I'm going to brace myself, my hand with my little pinky, it's a little technique, just kind of stabilize it, and I'm going to put my little flag on it. Sweet! Now you might not be able to see it with the resolution we've got on this. I'm going to do another little zoom and just tell me if you think you like the idea of it being red. Here it is. Red usually means it's a close pin. Right. Okay. Restabilize technology, stabilization technique. Okay. Well, you know, we're getting really close to being finito, and then we're going to start that next painting I have a good idea on. Right now we're going to go in and we're going to get work on a couple more little things here, and work on a little bit more, some sand action, sand trap action here. And for that, I've got to get me a little bit of that tan color going on. We'll see it here in just a second. I have been using and really enjoying burnt umber, which is this darker brown. It's called raw sienna, and it just makes some delicious little tans and browns, let me tell you. Just delicious. And I say that because sometimes I actually look at these palettes and I think, man, if that was icing on a cake, I'd be all over it. Yeah, just a little bit of that. There. Raw sienna and burnt umber is what that's called. Okay. Alright. Get myself a little bit of paint on the brush. Let's go ahead and put a couple of other little traces of sand traps in here. I think we're going to have one that kind of goes over in here. Sucks to be you if your ball is in this one, man. I'll tell you what, because it's behind a bunch of trees. Hopefully you're out in the fairway there. But it's a pretty long bunker. Big old bunker. Palm Springs, Palm Desert, there's a lot of these, man. You gotta be a good sand player because you're gonna end up in it one way or another. Okay. And I'm gonna have another little one coming in right in here. Oh yeah, lots of bunkers. Lots of bunkers. Plus, I think it adds some visual interest, and I'm not sure if this is a bunker or just a little sand coming across this one, but a little bit of something, something. Much as anything to kind of help get the eye moving down that way, if you get the drift. Now these bunkers, it's not just sand and all of a sudden it turns into grass. We'll have a little bit of a lip on them. As small as this is, I do kind of want to give that little impression of the lip on the sand trap here. Alright. Huh. Hey, by the way, I've got my iPhone mounted on my canvas here. Text checked, working just fine. I can have little text coming in. I got some images there. Pretty cool. Yes. So here we are. Oh man, that was so simple but good. Same here. Getting some of that little bit of edging on the bunkers. Wow, right in there. Across there. Yeah, the bunkers have a little kind of dirt showing on the edge. They dig them down into the ground, into the fairway a little bit. That's what that's all about. Yeah, and I don't want to get too carried away with those doggone bunkers, but I like the idea of some of this sand and dirt just kind of piling up over here around some of these trees just a little bit. Again, it helps tie things together when you do a little of this. One pigment here might find its way over to another part of your painting. A little here, a little there. Strange how little things like that can help tie a painting together. Yeah, and you know what? Similar idea. I guess I'm starting to believe this is a cart path running back through here. Yeah, maybe that's what that is. Maybe it might get started way over here. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I'm going to add just a tiny little kind of like whitish highlights into these bunkers. Pop a little bit. Because that sand can be sometimes very close to white. I had an idea. I'm actually going to try it. I have a container full of sand I got from a golf course or two. Out of the bunkers, yes, I stole it. And I don't know why I did it at the time, but I'm going to experiment with it and put some actual physical stuff in some of my paintings. This gets sand. Not in this painting, but you'll see. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Yep, so we got that close pin. Got a green we got a shot at. Looking pretty darn good. You know, the light color looks so good. I'm gonna augment some of my palm tree trunks with it. Because it's kind of nice. Oops, made a mistake, but that's okay. Just dealt with it. Sometimes in painting, mistakes could be good, so don't like freak out if you get like some blob of paint like I did here. And I thought, you know what? Right in there, I just had some really dark gray or black, and I said, you know, I'm just going to go with it. It's maybe a palm frond or two that are really dark, and you know what? Worked out pretty good. I kind of like this up in those trees too, doggone it. Yeah, you never know where this color is going to find a new home. So far, it's found a couple different homes. Now, I'm going to continue with that really, really light tan. Because like I said, I really liked how it's kind of making these tree trunks kind of pop. Yeah. That's what that was missing. Tiny little highlight. Maybe extending out a little bit from the base. I hope you're enjoying today's show. I broadcast every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time on Twitch, and then these are also posted on the live painting channel on Facebook and on my YouTube channel. You could just Google Warren Stokes YouTube, and almost anything that I do will come up there. And again, I'm requesting people follow me on Twitch. The reason is that I have to have a certain number of followers before I can post the videos on Twitch. So if you know of anyone that you can recommend, go take a look at my stuff, and you know, just yeah, I'm not trying to force you, but or beg. Well, maybe I am begging, sort of. Not trying to really make money on this. It's just something I do. People seem to enjoy. Been doing more of it. This painting is like getting ridiculously close to being done. I'm telling you what. So what I'm gonna do, since I had so much fun with that bunker there, I'm going to create some new bunker stuff. Start with that really light tan. And this is going to be a bunker too. Yeah. Might remember my last Palm Springs golf course painting had a bunker in it. And there was a ball in it. That was one of the little riddles or tests that I gave people. I said, where can you see where the golf ball is? And it was in the bunker. We laughed and said it must be Jason's ball. My son. Nice sand. Ooh, I like it. It's not very hard to do this. Gotta get the right colors. I'm gonna make myself some sand over here. And then I'll put in that little bunker lip thing. I think it's gonna go about that color because it's a little closer. And it's going to end up being a little bit darker right up on top. That's the lip. The thing about this in golf is you don't want to have your ball end up right next to the lip. It's really hard to get out of a bunker if you are. If you're not a golfer, you can disregard that. Doesn't matter. Alright. Pretty darn cool. And a little bit of little swishing of this, a little swishing of that. Want the sand to be kind of loosely done. There we go. Sweet. Okay, one little more thing that my mind's eye wants to add here to that bunker is just a little bit of Call it edge highlights or something here. Just right along here. It might be there's a little bit of discoloration of the grass as it gets close to that bunker. That's what my thinking is. Not that it really matters that much. But that's exactly what I was looking to do right there. Now, I'm going to step back and look. Oh my goodness, we're so close. I am getting another idea. Yeah, so the question is, what course is this? This is an impression of a course called the Mountain Course in La Quinta. And they nestle right up against the mountains. This course does, and several others, and it's really cool. But this is the 9 that's not right on the mountains. The other 9 is like literally on the mountains. Okay. La Quinta Mountain Course. Now we're going to go and make some... Okay, this is going to be freaking fun. Buckle your seat belts. Get your tray tables in the upright position. Because we're going to add a few more really cool shadows and call it good here. Pretty soon good. And I just need to get some gray and blue. Get myself that shadow mixture that's working so good. I have 2 companion blues I often use. One of them is called ultramarine blue, which is, they kind of look the same at a glance. And I have phthalo blue, which is more of the, I guess let's call it traditional nature blue, but I've been liking the way the ultramarine blue creates some really cool shadows. So what I'm going to do now is make myself some shadows. My granddaughter Marigold Star, if you're out there, sure enjoy painting with you. You are quite the artist. I've shared some of your work before with folks on the channel. But I remember you have a book you like us to read called Spooky Shadows. Let me do a little test on that. Oh, that's pretty good. Spooky shadows, because sometimes shadows can be spooky to kids. But then you learn it's just the absence of light. But the cool thing about a shadow is it's actually a really cool thing in nature that you'd think they would be like just gray. Shadows are often have blues and grays and lots of cool colors in them. I'm going to put a little bit of my shadowy stuff over here. While it's wet, kind of go in and just add a little bit of more ultramarine into it. A little shadow. Shadow of the poem. Kind of liking that. You know what? That shadow is going to dip right back in, right down into the Gulf, into the bunker. A little bit. Oh, very neat. I love doing this. This is fun. Good shadows. Right. Shadows are not always exact. They're just kind of little images, meandering things. I'm going to make a little smaller shadow though out of that one. Because I'm going back in the background now. My brush gets smaller, things get smaller. Oop, I want it a little darker than that. Silly. That's okay though. I like that kind of. Like the effect of having the shadows just sort of wandering around back there, looking for something to do. It's pretty late in the day, so these shadows are kind of getting out there. It starts to pick up into a big old shadow. You know, and sometimes had people tell me while I'm painting, step away from the painting, don't do it. You know, I should have recorded it when I was tearing this painting up. I took it all apart. Yeah, it was in process. I cut about 2.5, I don't know how many inches off the bottom of it, and you know what? I am glad I did. I'm glad I did, but you know what? Would have been very hard to put those inches back on there. Reminds me of something I think I saw online about daylight savings time. There's this Native American picture of a Native American saying only white man who would cut 2 inches off the top of the blanket and sew it on the bottom and think he has a longer blanket. Who in the hell invented daylight savings times? Jeez. Craziest thing I've ever heard of. Okay, well that one's, frankly, is just going to go right back up here. Now pretty much done. Pretty much. Yes. Oh, here. No, that's good. All right. You know what? This painting is done. I'm going to just go ahead and do the final signing of this, and we'll get on to the next painting. Yay! I got through it in time. Just have to decide where and how I want to sign that. I think I'll just sign it real small over here. I'm going to use this little here. We're going to sign it right here, small today. Okay, I think I shared with everyone that I'm now signing my paintings with the full date, not just like apostrophe 19. Why? Because I want to make sure that if this is part of an archaeological dig, perhaps sometime in 500 years from now, that they know which century it was done in, right? Is it 1919? Is it 2019? 3019? Well, now we know. Voila, or as Marigold Star would say, ta-da! Okay, we are officially finished with that painting. Now, we're going to start another one. Put this over here. Here's my drawing area right here. Put that right there. Fun painting. Now, I got semi-blank canvas here. I've been scribbling on it. And I got an idea from one of the viewers last week. Because I often ask, and I will ask again, is there anything people would like to see? Any topics or anything that you'd like to see painted? And I got a suggestion last week from, I think it was Amber. And the suggestion was paint a picture of Bisbee, Arizona. That was the suggestion. So I'm going to see if we can get this thing all in view here. And so I'm going to paint a picture inspired by Bisbee, Arizona. That'll be fun. Alright, now I'm gonna, this easel is great, all these adjustments and stuff, different size canvas. I've got my two little apparatus things I created on it. One of them is, as you may have seen before, this really nifty paper towel roller on the bottom. I added that, a little bit of work, not much. And I've also added a little thing where I can keep things like reference material. But look at this. I put the iPhone, you can buy these at the store, little things, you put them on your car vents and stuff. So I happen to have this little piece of aluminum, and I basically just, can I reach? See if you can see it. Yeah, little piece of aluminum clamped with a simple clamp on the back, just a hand clamp. Nice, because it's good to have those reference materials here. All right, well that's the making of type stuff. Now let's get down to it. Not sure if we'll get through this painting. We'll certainly give it a good shot. So what I've got is a little bit of inspiration. I saw some photos of where I was born, Bisbee, Arizona. Now, Bisbee, Arizona is not a very well-known town. It's about 70 miles southeast of Tucson. It's right on the Mexican border. And the craziest thing, I was born there. Not many people born in Bisbee, Arizona. I've told the story of how I went back a couple different times. One to find an art guru, and the other was to do some gemstone mining. I've had some good adventures down in Bisbee, in that area. All right, now I got to think about this because I'm going to go crazy on this one. Yeah, now this is where you gotta hold on to your butts and everything here, because this is gonna be fun, loose and crazy. Now I do want to make sure I take a couple of measurements. Why? Because although this often looks totally random, not all of it is. And I usually use, here it is, a silver Sharpie. Yeah, silver colored Sharpie to do my sketching. I was going to paint something else, but in the middle of my thinking I changed my mind, so I'm going to redo my conceptual work on this a little bit. Just bear with me while I explain what I'm doing here. People think of symmetry, and symmetry is basically when things are symmetrical, duh. And people think symmetry is nice, symmetry is good a lot of times, especially beginner artists, but frankly, symmetry can be a little bit boring. It's like when everything's like perfectly balanced. Unlike me, I'm not perfectly balanced. I'm maybe dynamically balanced. Aha. So, a few little elements here. One of them is the ratio of the width to the length of your canvas. A very nice one can be derived from what's called the golden mean ratio. That number is, if you had one, if it was 1, the other section's 0.618. So like if this was 10 inches, that would be 6.1 inches, roughly 6.2. And then you start doing some really cool things with that. One of the key concepts is figuring out the diagonal, which is very easy to do, of the main rectangle. And that creates a couple of interesting intersections, which you can then use to create some other interesting things. The whole point is, you could just randomly paint stuff with no idea of your composition or whatever, or you could decide that maybe you want to have some dynamic symmetry to it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm envisioning as my sky. Across here we're going to have the mountains, and while I'm at it, I'm going to actually put in a few little kind of guideposts for my mountains here and there, things that might semi-intersect or not, things like this. Okay, there's some mountains. I can guarantee you one thing, it'll all look different when I'm done painting it. But everybody can kind of see what I just did, I hope. Well, let me zoom, because I really want you to kind of see what I was just doing. With those lines, and how it's kind of used to create the elements for the painting there. That's the general idea. Now, back to the future. Somebody once said, hey, Warren might be the man from the future come to show us analog painting again. Could be. I don't know. But anyway, so that's the mountains. That's the top of the mountains. Now I'm going to create myself just some guidelines for my visual elements. There's some cactus and stuff in here. Kind of like where that one is. So we're going to go big or go home with that one, I'm telling you. It might be one of those saguaros or something like that. Yeah, pretty good. Now the clouds and stuff, well, yeah, there's going to be clouds galore up here. I'm not going to really sketch too many of them in because that'll be real fluid, but basically up in here I got clouds and sunrise, I'm going to call it. Okay. Now, the thing about it is, especially if you're painting the sky, pretty much got to start from the back. I've said that before, but it's so true. So I'm going to go in with a basic gray. Get myself some, I'm running around here because I'm creating a new palette here. Lots of basic gray. A little bit of that my Payne's gray, which is a darker gray. We're gonna go, anybody want phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, light blue? Anybody got a favorite blue they want me to go with? I'll go with it if you're right on the ball here. Got a chat right away. Send me a chat and we'll decide which blue to use. In the meantime, I'm going to start with a little bit of gray. Well, actually, no. I'm going to start with blue. I'm going to try something I haven't tried. It's a color I have not tried. I said hold on to your seats and everything. It's a true fact. I'm going to go with some crazy decision here. Holy macaroni. That's going to be awesome. I'm mixing paint, so just give me a second. Where's my white? Lots of white. Need more white. You could hear it. It sounds like a fart. That's funny. Marigold will laugh. That's funny. Okay. So we're going with a really new blue for me, and that's going to go right across here. Sound effects usually cost extra, but today they're no charge. All right. Oh, that's pretty nice. You know, if I was to think about it, though, I gotta, yeah. Definitely way up here. Oh my God, look at that blue. It's so nice. Just squish it on there. Lots of that. Can't really get too much of this up here. I mean, and I really am going crazy. I told you, buckle your seat belts, get your tray tables up, seats in the upright lock position. We're taking off now. Yeah, I know everything's a hard decision in art. People are saying, well, I don't know what to use. Well, the thing about the live painting channel is it's live. I can't sit around forever and make the decision. It's live. So I just made the decision. I'm going with a really different thing going on here. Ultramarine blue and just something called light blue. What the heck is that? I don't know. We're going to find out. And the point here is that I'm just laying in some of the sky, basically. Gotta get more paint. Sweet. Lots of paint, lots of water. Get the short road here. Yep, that'll work. See, the point here is it's fun, and it's just really to be kind of fluid with this imagery that I'm doing. It's the back, it's far back. It's the way back. I'm going into the way back machine here. But the way this is going to work is that the darker blues are going to be up near the top of the canvas, and as I move down, they're going to get lighter. So sometimes you just smear a bunch of the pigment on there with the right chinwheel mix, and then you just mix it. That's at least what I'm doing today. If you're just joining the live painting channel, my name is Warren Stokes, and we are doing some live painting. I'm the host of the channel. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on Twitch, also played on Facebook and YouTube. This is the 11th episode of the live painting channel. So this means this is number 11 live painting piece. Oh yeah. Golly gosh, I'm just liking it. Way down here though, I want it to be quite a bit lighter. Alright. Now one of the things about this, I'm laying on the paint pretty thick here. And I like it. I don't always do it that way, but when I do, I seem to like it. Put the edges on, famous technique by Stokes. paint the edges of your canvas, and you find you really don't need a frame. They look really good just hanging around, hanging up from any angle. All right. Well, the fun thing is we've actually got a good part of the painting already started here. And it is really, maybe I'll add a little touch of this and a touch of that just to give it some dynamic symmetry here, but really it was a good start. Really good start. And it's been the last couple of times more than a one session painting. I get usually a fair amount started, and I've occasionally finished a painting in about 45 minutes to an hour. It has happened. But a lot of times it'll take just a little, reflection, a little drying of the paint, a little inspiration to come back and just finish it up, just like we did today's La Quinta mountain course with the golfing. Been working on that one for a while. Happy with it though. Oh my gosh, I am happy with it. So happy with it. We're going to take a look at that while this dries a little bit. Well, I mean, if you think it sucks, just shout out. I mean, it could be, but I'm going to show the audience again what we just finished. And this is the painting we just finished on the live painting channel. It's a golf course in Home Desert, inspired by the La Quinta mountain course. You can see the bunkers. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Gosh, while that other paint dries, I'm gonna do a little something here. I just have to now that I've started this little tradition. What am I gonna do? Anyone know? Take a guess. I'm gonna put something somewhere on this painting. One little tiny thing. What do you think it's gonna be? Any guesses? Okay. Alright, time for guessing is over. We're going to put it right here. Golf ball. Sweet. That's funny. Alright, that's funny no matter who you think it is. Alright, anyway, I thought it was funny. Got this new thing going on. Golf ball in the bunker. But that's a makeable shot. Looks to be about 140, 150 yards maybe. Cool. Alright. Anyway, we're just letting the paint dry over here a little bit. Doesn't matter too much. Okay, I think it's probably dried enough. Alright, so what we're going to do now is lay in some of that gray matter. Gray matter. And for that, get myself a big fluffy brush. I haven't used this like this before, but let me try it now. I usually use another gray. This is called neutral gray. Let's just check it out here. Might add a little blue to it because then it never hurts. I'm going to go ahead and, oh my, here we go. Here goes nothing. Oh my gosh, look at that. I'm going to lay in some of these little dark gray areas here. Something's going to be coming from down here. These are part of my soon-to-be thing with the sunset, or sunrise rather. I'm going to go with sunrise on this one. Now this one I really am just trying to get some loose affiliation with millionaires and billionaires, stuff like that going on, while preserving the basic blueness in the background. Now people are going, oh, that looks crazy, weird, what's he doing? You'll see. If you've watched a number of my paintings, you'll see that what looks weird today may look very logical tomorrow. We'll just see about that. Because I'm really just putting in some gray areas, which are going to be essentially, you'll see. Why spoil it? You'll see what it is when we get into the clouds, which is where we're going with this. Okay. Now I got to start thinking about the structure though a little bit. All right. Structure, discipline, what next, huh? Paint by number. What the heck? I mean, like, structure of clouds, that's pretty loose. So it's not like you have to really overthink it. What I'm just trying to do is get some of my basic light dark, gray blue stuff going on here. Oh, my camera angle changed. Thank you for telling me. Yeah, we signed that one off. We signed that painting off of the golf course. We did a good one on that one. We did good. I don't know what I'm doing here, but essentially I want to not monopolize the painting later with you. You'll see some freaking crazy stuff. Okay. In fact, probably just about good for the effect I'm trying to get. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, which is the mind-boggling white knuckle. My God, you can ruin a painting so quick with what I'm going to do here. Because I'm going to start laying in the other color. Yep, right about now. And this other color is like definitely semi-mind-boggling here. For sure, because we're going to go right across the bottom. I'm running out of palettes here. Now I got one. We're going to go right across the bottom with some super bright cadmium, yellow, and white mixture. Pure as the sunlight shining today. Cad yellow, titanium white. And just as sure as the sun is shining today, we're going to see some bright yellow coming up. This is fun. Let me tell you. I hope you're painting along or doing some other fun stuff today. But what I'm about to do is a lot of fun. Which is, we've been playing around with these blues and grays for long enough. We're just going to go in here and lay in some really light yellows and such, like burning sun. Holy crap, look at that. And it's going to go right down to the base of that mountain, and it's going to be really freaking awesome. Yep, awesomeness explored. Not to completely take away from all that work with the gray that I did, though, huh? Yep. It's just to start thinking of the sun. The sun is fun today. Likes, hates, or is completely neutral about what I'm doing here, but from my point of view, I'm having fun, and that's what actually matters the most. Oh, that's a nice yellow. That's a nice yellow. It's just leaking through a lot of these areas. This really serious yellow stuff. It's totally wanting to shine. This is like your own inner spirit wanting to get out right here. Give me some of that. I want some of that. I want some of that energy, that life-giving sun. All right, you can have it. You can have all you want. Free today on the Live Painting Channel. Life-giving sun, energy, free today. The Live Painting Channel. Now as we move up here, interesting things begin to occur. For one, the sun's rays get a little different. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Okay, I'm going to get a nice new brush. some new color to this right in here. Crazy, crazy orange. I told you we're getting crazy today, didn't I? I warned you. Some people may have to go get a checkup after this. I mean, this is like, wow, craziness. Check with your doctor. I always post that warning. I've had my lawyers review it. Their lawyers reviewed it. I have my disclaimer. People that view this channel could have sudden urges of doing good things for people or inspirational moments. You might find yourself creating dramatic new images and doing positive things in your life, who knows. But as Mahatma Gandhi says, and I paraphrase, there's nothing you can do in the whole universe that will have a huge effect, but it's vitally important that you do something. So I chose this painting, and it's one of the things. Sound effects. Well, see, this is actually the kind of thing I was hoping to get out of here, was some really good solid basis for like a shockingly colorful sunset or sunrise in Bisbee, Arizona is what this is called. Shocking. So shocking, it's like crazy. And remember, we haven't even started the mountains yet. Okay. This is a different style, different technique I'm doing here. It's called the Warren's dab and roll. In case you want to look it up on Wikipedia. Warren's dab and roll technique. Actually, I'm doing a lot of that. Look at this palette. Ooh, sweet, huh? Crazy orange. That orange is called, what is that? Cadmium orange. Yeah, pretty pure. But that was the goal here. Now up here, we're going to see some of that cadmium orange start to find its way up here to the upper atmosphere. And as the sun heats it all up, you see more and more down below. But remember how we had to start that painting with the blues in the background, huh? Otherwise I couldn't do what I'm doing here. Alright. That's pretty crazy. I don't know if you guys agree. Crazy? Good. Is it crazy good? Let's just zoom in on that a bit. Let's see. Ooh. It's just the basis for a new painting. Bisbee, Arizona sunrise. We're working on it. Alright. Now, here's the thing, here's the dealy bob, is that we have reached the top of the hour, and so we're going to pick this painting up. We'll have a little bit more next Sunday. This is Warren Stokes, host of the Live Painting Channel. Hope to see you next Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. You can also find me on YouTube and Twitch. Just search for the Live Painting Channel. I'm going to post my contact information in case anyone wants to get a hold of me. We'll see you again next week.